Thanks for the support as a channel member, Dylan Holiday. Our Champions League campaign gets up and running today as we try and find out if this Barcelona team really is as good as the Bayern Munich team we had last season. And if that wasn't enough of a test, we also play some team that are apparently a rival called Real Madrid. Hello and welcome to Club 6 Part 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're away against Benfica in our first Champions League group game, and then we skip a match and do the home game against Real Madrid in the league. Since you were last with me, we've only played 2 more games, and we picked up another 5-0 against Mallorca, but then very nearly lost away to Deportivo. It would have been Banfalvi's first defeat in a league game since leaving Tottenham, and we managed to save ourselves with a 95th minute equaliser. And Mbappe missed penalty in this game as well. But a 95th minute equaliser. I hope we're that kind of team, because that kind of team is the kind of team that wins stuff. The league table, very meaningless this early on, but we are 4th in it. 3 teams already with perfect records. So Real Madrid is going to be our first real test in the league, I assume. And in the Champions League, this is the group we got. Probably, I would suggest, the easiest group in the whole thing. Hold on, I'm trying to look at all the groups. If we have a look at all the groups, I would suggest, we've got Tottenham and Bayern in one group with an imaginary team and Galatasaray there. Dortmund, Sevilla and PSG over there. But I would say Benfica, Rangers, PSV, relatively easy group. We should be okay. There's also a little bit of transfer news as well. I'm not guilty. I didn't do this. My head of youth development, Patrick Cliver, did this one for me. And goodness me, is this a good signing? Jeffrey Powells, who's an 18-year-old Belgian, 7 caps and 2 goals for Belgium already. He's basically the new Vermonti. He's a deep-lying playmaker who wants to play on defend instruction in that role. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. I did take a sharp intake of breath when my head of youth development goes to spend £25 million on an 18-year-old. But in the end, I thought, you know what? We've just lost Neves. De Jong will be gone this year as well. We've only really got Vermonti as an out-and-out, certainly as our kind of deep-lying playmaker. So Powers can come in and spend a year as his understudy and then see how things are as he develops. So that wasn't even my fault that we went over £600 million of spending. But enough worrying about money. Let's get into the game against Benfica. And this is the team that is going to play them. It's a very familiar team for us already. Although Gila in midfield is not fully fit, so we're going to have to keep a little bit of an eye on him. The one change, with it being a little midweek game, we're resting Vermonti for the first time. As you can see, he's tiring a little bit. There's a few of them who probably could have justified a rest. Leonard's another one who we probably could have given a little bit of time off to, but I don't know how good we are in Europe, and I don't know how good Benfica are going to be. So for now, we'll just rest the 1-star player, and we'll keep it all under observation as we go through the tournament. It would have been an opportunity to play Powells, I guess, but with De Jong still here, it seems silly not to play him. So Bajic in goal, a back four of Messias, Paredes, Benfalvi and Krajju, De Jong at the base of the midfield, Gila and Barrow ahead of him, Hudson-Odoi and Mbappe supporting Leonard up front. Let's get into the game and hopefully perform a little bit better than we did in that last match against Deportivo. I don't want to have to get into... It's nice to know we've got 95th minute equalisers in us when the need arises. I'd like to think the need won't arise very often, though. We don't want to be... We want to be the kind of team that can do it, but not the kind of team that relies on having to do it. And for a game like this, for a team like ours, I would expect us to be marching into Benfica, scoring 3 or 4 goals, marching out again with 3 points, and very happy about a job well done. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how things develop as the game goes on. PSV have gone ahead against Rangers in the other game going on in our group right now. Banfalvi's picked up a yellow card, as has Krajju. Obviously, both of them current Champions League holders. In fact, almost everybody on the pitch. Leonard's just puts 1-0 up with his 8th goal of the season, and the Mbappe corner, Leonard thunders it into the back of the net. Wonderful stuff. But almost everybody on the pitch has won the Champions League within the last 2 years, because obviously Barcelona did the year before we did. Banfalvi and Krajju's played in the last 2 finals, and Vermonti. The only players, I guess, I mean, Hendricks was in the final last year. Mbappe obviously hasn't won it recently, but I'm sure has won it multiple times when he was at Manchester City. But he'd be the only one. We're considering the weak link in our team to be Kylian Mbappe, we're probably doing okay. Barrow makes it 2-0 on 28 minutes. And this is the plan. This is all going according to what we were hoping for in this game. A few early goals, establish cruise control, and then get ready for Real Madrid in a couple of games' time in the league, and hopefully have ourselves played back into good form before we go there. Get the Deportivo nonsense out of our system, and hopefully be back to being the team that we saw in those first 3 games when we were tearing everybody apart. Leonard was scoring goals for fun. There was a lot of interest in him before the deadline closed from Manchester United. They were being linked with a £100 million plus offer for him. Not a chance is he going there. Certainly not unless we can sign 2 or 3 world-class replacements and a couple of wonder kids before agreeing to let him go. But I've not seen a natural goal scorer like him for quite some time in Football Manager, unless, of course, you've been watching my Twitch saves, in which case you'll be familiar with Jack Sherlock and how prolific he is in that. But he's about the closest one. We've got the Jack Sherlock of Barcelona, which is, I mean, that's quite the high praise indeed. Corner for Benfica just before half-time, and it's headed clear by Banfalvi, and that should be that as we approach the half-time whistle, although somehow Benfica still have the ball, but we are working it back into their half, and there is the half-time whistle. So let's do the good old-fashioned 2-0 up, don't get complacent team talk. We've all been there. We know how it works. It looks like Rangers have now equalised in their game against PSV. 44th minute equaliser for Rangers. So that's ideal for us, really. The more times in the groups that we win while everyone else in the group is either losing against us or drawing against each other, the quicker we get qualification from the group wrapped up and can focus fully on the league for a little while. I don't remember from when I was at Sevilla last year in Non-League to Legend, do we have a winter break in Spain? I've kind of got used to having one in Germany, but I can't remember whether there is one in Spain or not. I don't know why there would be, because presumably it doesn't get super cold in Spain because it's a warm country. But maybe they do. Who knows? Maybe, despite it being warm, they're civilised and give their players a couple of weeks off halfway through the season to recharge the batteries, have a little bit of turkey and all that kind of stuff. I have been, as been mentioned to me in the comments a couple of times, that I shouldn't be referring to myself as being in Spain, being at Barcelona. I'm never going to... I mean, the politics of the situation confuses me, and I'm never going to remember. As far as I'm concerned, if I look at a map, it's in Spain. If that changes, then I'll change what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm going to get very confused and get something even wronger than that, probably. So if you are a Barcelona fan, or you live in Barcelona and you're desperately offended at me referring to that as Spain, start a revolution is what would be my suggestion. Make it so that I can be factually correct another way. Right. Kraju has picked up an injury here, and I guess, I mean, Quick Pick is saying bring Powell's on, so I will. He's not going to make his debut at right back, though. We're going to shuffle everyone around. We'll stick De Jong at right back. He's the old man who can handle it. Vermonti can push forward into midfield. It's absolutely not the ideal position for Vermonti to be playing in, but we want Powell's to make his debut in his own position. It's only fair on him that he gets the chance to do that. So Vermonti's just going to have to adapt. Vermonti's now getting flashbacks of when he arrived at Tottenham and forced Vargas out of position, and then the rest is history. So he's probably going to break Powell's ankle on the way back to the bus after the game. I assume we get the bus back from Benfica. How far away from Benfica is it? In fact, Spain, as I keep getting told, Spain is a big country and Barcelona is right in the north of it, isn't it? And probably quite far away from Portugal. So despite the fact, in my mind, it's like going from London to Cardiff, it's probably a slightly longer drive than London to Cardiff, despite them being... Basically, Portugal is the Wales of Spain, in my mind, because it's sort of in the same place. That, to me, makes perfect sense. We've won 3-0. It was the actual game plan we had. We've pulled the game plan off. Happy days. Next part of the game plan is a relatively easy win with a slightly rotated team against Espanyol and then a thumping of Real Madrid. Let's see if the second part of the plan works as planned. Next part of the plan complete against Espanyol. We left it very late. Bearing in mind they had a player sent off in the 10th minute. We missed a penalty in the 17th. Didn't actually score our first goal until the 77th minute, but did end up winning 5-0. Thanks in no small part to another red card. In fact, to be fair, I thought they were the other way around as I was reading this. I've literally just played this game. I need to get some sleep. But a second red card in the 97th minute and 93rd and 96th minute goals. We're good at late goals, it seems. Now for Real Madrid. So a little bit of a shuffling of the pack again from the Espanyol game. I think this is my first choice team. I still don't fully know the combination of wingers that I want, but this was the original plan. Pozobon on one side, Mbappe on the other, and Hudson-Odoi being the man sat on the bench because Pozobon is 25, whereas these two have a combined age well into their mid-60s. So I think probably Hudson-Odoi and Mbappe are the ones who are going to rotate. We're going with Barrow and Gila in midfield. Vermonti comes back in at the base of said midfield. And Berisic finally fit to make his first appearance of the season. He's been here a long, long time, but started the season injured. Injured, light training, injured again, back in light training. So hopefully that's not going to be a common theme. Obviously, we have got Kryju knocking around the place, but he's now also picked up an injury, as has our third choice right back, Luis Carlos, who played in the last game. Hendricks also still injured. Little early injury crisis that we're dealing with here. But fingers crossed, this is still a team that can play as well against Real Madrid as it has against everybody else apart from Deportivo. But this is definitely our first big test of the season. Is there anybody we recognise in the Real Madrid team? It doesn't look like it. So, which is strange, actually, because I would expect there to be players who I've scouted at some point in the past to be in there, but there's no names I recognise. Whereas the likes of Leonard and Hendricks, as I've mentioned many, many times, are players who've been around my scout reports for a long, long time. But I don't think there's anybody in that Real Madrid team who I've ever attempted to sign for Tottenham or Bayern Munich. So I'm going to assume that means they're rubbish now. Leonard is in. That is just a sensational goal. Philippe Leonard. We've had some good strikers on this channel over the years, but this man's only 26 years old. He's already the finished article. Look, he just picks the ball up level with his defender, just ruins him for pace and power, and then shoots from the tightest of angles past the keeper. It's 1-0 on 10 minutes. We have a very, very good striker on our hands, and he's just scored a very, very good goal. Now we just need to see if we're as good at defending as we are at attacking, because Mbappe's just nicked it back again there. He's now racing 3. This man's 33 years old. The pace he had there on that counter-attack, he's got a good few years left in him yet, hasn't he? He's going to end up being steal of the save at £45 million. If we can get a couple of seasons out of him with that kind of quality before he starts to deteriorate, we are going to be laughing all the way to the Club World Championship, which we'll be winning, having won the Champions League twice in those 2 years. I think this is a very good team that we've got. I hope Real Madrid aren't now going to spoil my predictions. But I know I was saying just a couple of episodes ago that the Bayern Munich team I had might be the best team I've ever had. I still think it probably was. But this team is close already. And with a couple more signings next summer, I imagine combining the two teams, which is kind of what we've done by bringing three players over. I'd probably look to bring Ferron over as well. I'm not actually going to because we can't afford him. But if I was going to do a super team between the two, we'd bring Ferron over. We'd bring Dombrowski over. We'd probably bring Gashi, maybe. And that would probably be it. Just sort of mix them together. And Paredes is in for his first ever goal for Barcelona. He was a big... What was that? It looked like he tried a cartwheel and then just remembered he was a massive centre-back and it wasn't a good idea. But it's Mbappe with the in-swinging free kick. Their keeper, that was terrible from their keeper. And that's the easiest goal Paredes will ever score. It's 2-0 just before half-time. And Real Madrid should be worried at what they're witnessing today, because this is a team that hasn't even settled into into a full rhythm yet, and we're already battering teams left, right and centre. We've got a goal difference of 20 after 5.5 games. That's some good footballing. Real trying to drag themselves back into the game, because remember they were unbeaten themselves going into this match, with an identical record to ours. In fact, 4 wins, 1 draw. So this was I know it's early in the season, but a little bit of a top of the table clash situation. Atletico, I think, have been the big team in Madrid for the last few years in this save, but Real Madrid are there or thereabouts. It's definitely a big 3 here in Spain. Right, we're going to take off Pozibon and bring on Hudson-Odoi and just swap those 2 over, which means we're going to drop him down to support, which means we're going to swap these 2 over now, just to rebalance each side of the team. There needs to be a way to automatically do that when Mbappe comes on. Or in fact, Mbappe just changed sides. He didn't come on, he was already on. Mbappe with the corner, looking for Hudson-Odoi, can't quite find him. Banfalvi picks it up on the edge of the area, crosses to Leonard, and it's just over from Leonard. If we'd have made it 3-0 there, that is game over. It's close to game over as it is, because we're playing very well, albeit only on 35% possession, which is a bit of a strange one. They've come here, had all of the ball, but we've still spoilt their day. Correa's going to come on. I want him on that side, I think, because Hudson-Odoi can come over here just as easily and do that, but he's better on that wing. So Correa, and I think this is the first appearance for Correa since that first day of the season when he scored on his debut. Probably should have played him in the Espanyol game that we've just played, instead of Leonard, to give Leonard a little bit of a break. Leonard hasn't missed a minute of football yet this season, so we probably need to be a little bit smarter about how we're using him so we don't break him, because he's so important to us. I think Hudson-Odoi's been fouled here. A penalty in the 86th minute. We've gone over to the little telly for a decision. The decision is penalty. Who's our number 11? I don't know who our number 11 is. Correa. Correa steps up to take, and he's a goal of game striker. We've got 2 of them. Correa makes it 3-0 with his 2nd goal of the season in his 2nd substitute appearance. I know it's a penalty, but still, it's good to have. We spent £85 million on him. It's good to have a striker new to the club with the best striker in the world ahead of him, coming in and scoring goals as well. It's a very, very nice situation. We've given away a free kick on the edge of the area. It doesn't matter. It's the 92nd minute. They can score here. I don't begrudge them that. They can't even manage that. This isn't the Real Madrid team that I thought we'd be facing today. Stats-wise, though, we have had 4 clear-cut chances, 3 half chances, 17 shots. We're outnumbering them on everything apart from possession. So we've clearly just been very, very dangerous with our counter-attacks when we've been able to get the ball back off of them, which works for me. We've been ruthless. De Jong, back to Banfalvi, who sprays it out for Berisic. Didn't actually quite make it to Berisic, and now Real looking for another counter-attack, but Messias is just in and just takes the ball off of him. There was never any danger there, was there? Paredes plays it forward, looking to release Correa, and Correa has the opportunity to make it 4 here, right at the death. Can't get the crossover, but Messias will. In fact, he won't, because the final whistle went 3-0 to Barcelona. This is a start to the season, boys and girls. And as promised on yesterday's video, tomorrow we're going to do the other big team here in Spain to see how we measure up against them. So tomorrow will be Atletico in the league and then PSV in the Champions League. If we win both of those games as well, we're looking very, very, very good. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.